Hi, I'm Chrissy. I just wanted to take this time to introduce myself. I know I've released a couple of videos about sleep training already, but I wanted to let you guys know who I am and why I'm making them. I'm a mom of two, what I like to call my FOMO boys. I have a 5-year-old and a 5-month-old now, and they are the stereotypical high needs babies. High needs meaning that they are colicky, they have some ambiguous digestive issues, but they're not super severe. My 5-month-old has a milk allergy, so we are on prescription formula for that. But other than that, nothing severe. It's just that these are boys that just are very demanding of attention. They're needy, and that goes along with Dr. Sears. If you haven't read about him, look him up. He's the father of attachment parenting, but he talks a lot about high needs babies and how to soothe them in a way that other doctors and professionals don't really talk about, and it was super helpful. Check out his 5 S's. I love his stuff because it's really accessible. It's really easy. They have his stuff is called the Happiest Baby on the Block. He's actually the snoo, that fancy schmancy bassinet that's like thousands of dollars, is something that he invented, but he has accessible videos out there. I know we paid for one out of desperation one night in the middle of the night to watch on Amazon Prime. But the 5 S's to soothe babies is awesome. Anyway, I talk about Dr. Sears because reading his work really validated my experience with my first son as well. He had a lot of colic, screaming, crying, would get worse after feedings instead of better. He was not able to self-soothe at all. He had to be sleeping on a body. He wouldn't allow me to put him down to sleep at all. We went through 3 swings before we finally settled on one that he likes, or liked as an infant. And I remember the day that he fell asleep in the swing for the very first time. I cried like a baby because the relief of like, oh my God, you can sleep somewhere and you don't have to be touching me. He was one that I could wear in a baby wrap, and he was very happy with that. So I did wear him a lot. I had a Beko soft structured carrier at that time. And he did enjoy that. So I troubleshooted my way through what would help this high needs FOMO baby for all of his infancy and toddlerhood. So I learned a lot. And then I had my second baby, and I was misled by his first 2 weeks. My first baby was out of the womb screaming at a volume that was so loud the doctor and the nurses in the delivery room could not hear one another, and they remarked upon how loud his scream was. And my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, oh no, like if they think this is loud, it must be loud because they're in the baby business, right? My second one wasn't like that at all. He had that cute, quiet newborn cry. He was very easily soothed in the hospital. All through his first 2 weeks, he just slept. There was even one day during the first 2 weeks that he slept through the night. And we were like, oh my God. And at one point, our pediatrician had told us, like, you know, you only get one high needs baby. Your second one will be so much easier. Like, there's one in every family, or if there is one, there's only one. Well, I love my pediatrician to death. I love that man. I would recommend him to anybody. He's the most amazing doctor in the world, but he lied. Because after that second week, my husband jokes, that's when they put the batteries in. And he was the same as my older one, and actually turned out to be worse in a sense, because his digestive issues were more severe and more difficult. With our first, we were able to settle on a formula, one of those sensitive formulas, but it wasn't that high priced like Alimentum or Nutramigen that's out there. But with this one, we did everything the same way we did with the first, thinking that he was going to be just like my first son, which is always second kid best mistake. I started breastfeeding him. Neither of my kids latched, by the way. And the second one, I was like hell-bent on like breastfeeding him from the breast. So we spent hours literally with the lactation consultant in the hospital, and to no avail. And she couldn't get him to latch either, and was trying to feed my newborn with a spoon. And that's why I drew the line. And I was like, forget it. We're just doing the bottle because this is insane. I'm not going to feed my newborn with a spoon. Thank you very much. So I was pumping and doing breast milk. Once he started to get a little gassy, I eliminated dairy completely from my diet, stayed the same, took him off of breast milk completely, continued to pump with hopes that we would figure out his issue and I'd be able to just supplement with formula. And we put him on one of those sensitive formulas. That didn't work. Then we put him on Alimentum, and he was still having digestive issues. He had horrible diarrhea and horrible gas. Like, he farted like a man. It was disgusting. And I felt so bad for him, because to have that little body produce so much gas, he must have been in so much pain. So we ended up on prescription, like allergenic, like not hypoallergenic, like more than hypoallergenic. I didn't even know that was a thing. Formula that's $45 for a can this big. Thank God our insurance pays for it. So yeah, so we started to do the same things with my second son, and there were some similarities. He was the same kid when it came to like, you can't put him down for him to sleep, but he hated the swing. The old standby swing that we could always depend on with my other first son, he didn't like it. So we couldn't do the swing, and he was actually a worse sleeper. So he needed to be soothed more, and I had this complicated routine of I tried the 5 S's, the shushing and the shaking, and don't panic when you hear shaking. If you watch the Dr. Sears stuff, it'll tell you what that means. I'm not shaking my baby. Don't call the Child Protective Services on me. But we tried everything that we tried with the first, and not much of it seemed to work. So eventually, when we found him the right formula, he had terrible acid reflux. My first one also had reflux, but it was silent reflux, so he never spit up. This one spits up constantly, to this day still does. So we had him to the gastroenterologist, who then prescribed an acid for him, and that has helped immensely. So he's a happy guy now. But through 2 kids, 2 boys, 2 high needs babies, 2 of them with digestive issues, but nothing that any pediatrician is like, oh my gosh, here's the solution, let's do this and it'll be fixed. I'm here with this channel to support other moms like me. You know, high needs babies turn into high needs toddlers, who turn into high needs preschoolers, and so on and so forth, for better or for worse. Now, don't panic if you have a high needs baby, because the flip side, which you'll also read about if you ever read Dr. Sears information, is that high needs babies tend to be high achievers. They tend to be extremely sensitive to their environment, and that manifests itself as, when they're little, not able to tolerate any discomfort and screaming and crying a lot. But then as they grow, they become these very empathetic, deep feeling, beautiful little souls who are completely aware of the world around them. They're also smart as whips, because they pick up on everything. They're little sponges. My son, my older son, got so frustrated. He was a late talker. I don't know how, because we talk constantly, but he was. His comprehension was unbelievable, and all the speech therapists would say, like, he knows more than kids his age. Like, he understands everything that's going on around him. He just couldn't, put the words together. But once he did, that was a huge turning point for us. So I'm going to make videos about all these different phases and stuff, and tips and product reviews about things that work better than others if you have babies like this. I'm going to you know, work through sleep training with you in an abridged version, because who has time to sit and read this whole book? I did eventually read all of the book once I started to sleep, which is counterintuitive, but I'm hoping to help moms out there like me who are looking for help right now. Give me the short version. Give me something to try. Give me something to do, because that wasn't out there for me. I didn't know what type of car seat would help a baby cope better within the car. I didn't know which swing would work better. So I tried all the swings. So now I know all about all the swings. So I can tell you about all the swings, and you don't have to trial and error like me. Learn from me, learn from my mistakes, learn from my experience. And hopefully you will have an easier time. I want to pay it forward. I also really like to have things that are based in research to back up everything that I talk about, because I am a psychotherapist by training, and I do that as my work, and I am very, very, very concerned with making sure that there is some evidence to back up what I'm saying. So I'm not one of those YouTubers that just makes stuff up and tells you what I think. I'm going to be telling you what I know based upon either scientific research or my own experience with 1 and or 2 children. All right, that's it from me. Take care. Thanks. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will be back with another video soon.